All right, and we are live. What's up, my brothers? My brothers from another mother. Going to be doing this live Q&A session. I want to start with some frequently asked questions because I know there's been a pretty large growth in new subscribers on the channel. So, as you guys start to pile into this live broadcast, I don't normally do these for regular subscribers. This is normally just for Patrons. What's up? How you doing? Wanted to get out some of the questions that have been popping up often in the description and the comment section of the video, just to give you guys some insight on who I am a little bit more and what I'm doing. For those of you that are regular viewers, a lot of this will be familiar. For many of you that have recently joined and subscribed to the channel, thank you. I hope you've enjoyed the stuff that I've been putting out. I want to be able to bring you guys up to date on who I am a little bit more. Look at all these guys here. Mexico City. Okay, so hold on to the questions for a tiny bit. I'll take some Q&A stuff afterwards once I get caught up on where I need to be. And so first questions that come out is somebody put in the comments on one of my video the other day, a newer subscriber. They go, what do people at work or your employees think of what you do with this channel? And my answer to that is I don't really care what people think because I'm independent from anything else that I do. This is my own project. This is what I do. If I have any issues with customers or employees, I don't really care. At the end of the day, this is who I am. This is what I want to talk about. My mission is to become a better version of myself and help other guys become better versions of themselves by becoming more aware, red pill aware, if you will. So that's really the use that I want to have with what I'm doing. So if there's a customer or somebody that works for me that has a problem with what I do, they can pound sand. So I want to thank whoever posted that questions. Here's another one. It says here, the guy goes, it seems like you're being too careful with what you say. Living in Canada must be difficult, especially for non-emasculated guys. I don't know how you do it. Well, the only place that I am somewhat watered down and careful with my comments is on the public videos that I upload on the channel. I've paid very close attention to the way the YouTube algorithms behave. I still believe that it's the best place to get discovered and to connect with an audience to this day. Even though I'm sure those things will change at some point in the future. But if you want to get the real Rich, the more direct version of me, the stuff that I don't filter out because of the politically correct landscape that, YouTube really is, you should probably check out the Patreon community because that's where all the premium content gets uploaded now that doesn't go on the public page. Another question here. Why is it you as, oh, this is a funny one because I put it in brackets because I wasn't clear on the question. It goes, why is it that I can't keep a woman? Who are you to give advice if you aren't married? And that typically is a comment that shows up in a lot of the tip videos. The reason why I have the experience that I do and the gray in my beard comes from my own life experiences, the hundreds of guys that I've coached, the friendships that I've created over the years, and the bonds that I've made. So, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Being married is not some level of achievement that a man needs to unlock in his life for self-fulfillment and actualization. A woman should only ever be a complement to your life, not the focus. A man needs to make his life his mission, and the right woman will come along and join you along for the ride. Trust me on that one. So I don't worry about things like that. So that's typically like a point and sputter type of comment from some of the female viewers that like to question the advice that I dispense. And I generally think and believe that I'm a hell of a lot closer to the truth than where they're going with it. Another question I got here was, when am I going to write a book? And I've been writing a book, believe it or not, since about November or December. And I haven't gotten very far with it except for the last month. Oh, shout out to Stuart Lucrative for the super chat. I'll get to your question in just one second. I plan on having this book finished by the end of the summer, hopefully. And it's essentially going to be all my top tips, basically stuff that a lot of men have commented on in my videos, like, you're the father that I wish I had growing up, or you're like the older brother that I wish, lived in my life to give me these sorts of experiences, or I wish I knew this 20 years ago, sort of thing. So that's what I'm hoping to achieve with the book. It's going to be a series of rules and lessons that I'm going to lay out for you in clearly marked chapters. It'll be very easy to digest and understand. So sit tight for that. If you want early access to it or to see what I'm working on, I'm slowly releasing some of the concepts that I'm generating in a private Facebook community that I run for men. I think it's on the tier 2 on Patreon if you want access to that. So Stuart says, how did you first get to discover the manosphere? Thanks so much for your videos. You're very welcome, my brother. Um, it was a men's retreat I was at in December about 2 years ago. I was at Ben Greenfield's house in Spokane. It's a entrepreneurs group. It's called the Brotherhood. And I was talking to a guy there over breakfast about what was going on in my life, and I obviously had some, plugged-in conditioning. I was dealing with three pretty difficult scenarios that happened back to back in my life at that time. Um, Basically introduced me to the rational male, and I took it from there. I got on my oldest kind of anyway. So the big awakening, and I kind of went down the rabbit hole to help me reconcile. Um, dealing with divorce, I had a very coming down the pipes that really messed things up, and I had to break up with a woman that I was dating for about 3 years after my divorce. So those are the three. Basically went through what I came to realize afterwards were symptoms of PTSD, which is something I'll get into a little bit more in a more deeper video. But that's basically where it started for me, because I needed to deal with that. Generally speaking, it's your wounds that become your work. So let's see here. Got another question. Oh, thanks for the super chat from Nexus974. Shout out to you. Thank you very much. So I've got some time to take some questions for a bit. Looks like we got a few people on right now. And let's see, maybe I'll go for another 20 or 30 minutes. If you guys want to ask me some questions, I'll do some random Q&A for you. We'll call this a random show. I basically wanted to do this. If you guys are coming on later on this live broadcast, you might want to watch the early recording, because I've made note of a few things that people have been asking consistently in my videos. To get answers on, because a lot of the new subscribers have joined in the last month. We've had a bit of luck on the YouTube algorithms lately, and a lot of you guys are quite new. Are you going to do a live with Donovan Sharp? Yeah, we'll probably do another one live with Donovan in the future. We're doing this Redman group. We're trying to do them every Saturday. We're alternating them right now between me and Anthony. So hopefully keep your eyes out on the notifications for an announcement for this week's one. I'm not sure when we're going to do it. I'm just working out the details with some of the attendees. But make sure you are subscribed and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the announcement. Bad connection, buffering hard. Yeah, looks like everything's okay on my top bar right now. How's it right now? Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah, Canada internet sucks. Sorry about that. Do you still have dial-up in Canada? Come on, guys. Ask me some serious questions. Hey, Rich, what do you think of ayahuasca, and would you ever do it? Yes, I would totally do it. I know that that's on my agenda, and I'll certainly share my experience with you on that, because that's kind of what I do. If I'm working on shit for myself, I'm sure there's some value you guys will get out of hearing what happens. Rich, how do you deal with getting ghosted? You just don't care. You just give fewer fucks, basically, is what you do. Keep up the good work. You're going to get ghosted, man. It's just going to happen. You just have to, it's just a numbers game. You have to try to figure out why, of course. And if you can try to pinpoint the reason why, you got dropped or ditched or whatever, you want to fix it. I mean, there's usually some signs or signals. I mean, ask me that question if you want to shoot me some details by email. You can send me a screen cap. Loving the Redman group. Thanks, man. It's been fun building that out the last month or two or so. I know Rollo's committed to it, and Anthony's committed to it, and Ryan and Carlos, and there's a few other. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are adding a lot of value to these live broadcasts for guys. I want to get Sean Smith on again for another one, and there's always new guests that we're trying to line up for it. So again, keep your eyes open for the new announcements. They're either on my channel or on 21 Studios. Yeah, you can send me an email, Jeff, if you want. But the best way to communicate is to essentially join the private Facebook community for guys. To do that, you need to be a Patreon on tier 2. It's $5 a month. It's well worth it. Super chat from Billionaire Dude. Thank you very much. New to your channel. You rich or what? Yep. Thanks. $2 is going to pay for the eye operation I need. Appreciate it, my brother. This channel motivates the heck out of me. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Glad you're okay after hearing about what happened. Yeah, what happened in Toronto today is messed up, but I don't want to get too political, but our prime minister here has some silly ideas about immigration policies, and he's made announcements over the last couple of years about letting certain people in that would be considered undesirable. I was talking to my dad about this a couple months ago. It's only a matter of time because he's basically British. I was born in the UK, and he watches a lot of BBC, and he was talking about all these vans driving over people in Europe, and I'm like, it's only a matter of time before it happens here, and lo and behold, it happened today. Hey, look at this guy, Daniel. Hello, Richard. You saved my life. Seriously, I almost fucked up my life with a single mother. Just last night, I watched your video on dating single mothers. Thanks. I'm glad you got some value out of it, man. That's why I do it. I want to help guys' lives improve. So that's awesome. What are there any differences between European and North American women? European women are probably more fit and feminine, in my opinion. Whereas North American women, not so much. They don't put the same emphasis in self-care as what the European women do, especially Eastern European women. But it's not all rainbows and butterflies. So don't go thinking, hey, I'm going to move to Eastern Europe and solve my problems, because it's not that easy. I'm joining the Army Reserves. Any advice? Yes. Run fast, pick up heavy shit, shoot guns, and have some fun. Learn some discipline. That's what the Army should be there for you. But don't take it too seriously. I know a lot of guys just get into it and then they'll leave after a few years to get what they needed out of it. So just understand when your time is done. What hope is there for young women with kids? What do they have to do to fix things? That's not my problem. They have to work on their own shit. I'm working on my things and I'm sharing my stories with you guys because I know that you come here looking for the answers. So if you're coming here looking for the answers, I'll give you the cold hard truth. If you're coming here to judge and criticize me and point and sputter, you can join the lineup of those angry women, just like the one that was asking, who am I to give advice if I'm not married? I guess no woman who will understand this cannot ever talk to women about this stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm disabled, in a wheelchair, and I struggle to find a partner. Just discuss prenups. You're gonna have to ask a more specific question about that. I got some videos on my channel, by the way, on prenups. So if you haven't seen them, you should probably check them out. You'll get some value out of them. They're definitely good. Blue pillars. Oh, so here's a good question. Tips for dealing with blue pillars, specifically family and friends. I don't. I don't try to red pill family and friends. I know that that's a question that comes up a lot. Guys will be talking about, my friends are blue pilled and they're making really bad choices, and how do I introduce them to a more critical way of thinking, or introduce a red pill lens to their life. And most people that come to this information, that go looking for it, usually do it because they're dealing with a form of trauma in their life. They need to reconcile something, answers that don't add up. Just, they have to go looking for it on their own. You can't go and give them a book and say, here, read this and this will solve your problems. You can try it, but my experience has been people need to be ready for it, so they need to come to it themselves. Sorry about the focusing. I keep scrolling up and it's unfocusing my face. Dealing with narcissistic women. You don't get into long-term relationships with narcissistic women. It's as simple as that. I mean, you can date them and learn what narcissism is and have some experience and, that sort of thing, but you don't get into long-term relationships with them. It's as simple as that. Boo Boo says, you guys are great, the Redman group. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You and Sharp are the best on here. They look sharp. They took Sharp down. These feminists are, yeah, I know. I feel sorry for Donovan. I mean, we had a long conversation offline a couple weeks ago when his channel first got taken down, and I offered him some tips. So, it looks like he's given it a go, but it's tough. You got to be careful with what you say and do with YouTube. It's basically, guys, I know that there's guys that are like, oh, you're pitching your Patreon too much. Well, there's a reason for it. I can't put things on the public channel that I talk about in my Patreon community. If you go there, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But there's a couple hundred guys in there right now, and if you don't like it, just quit. It's as simple as that. It's not like you're married to it. If you get in there and you don't like the community, then bounce. It's entirely up to you. But there's guys that have been in there for months and they love the content and the things that we go over. Alex says, just discovered you. You're not the father or brother I wish I had, not yet, but you're the cousin I wish I had in my life 10 to 12 years ago. Well, thanks. Maybe I'll get promoted in a couple months after you get in a little more content. Um, let's see here. Hey, wanted to say, not sure why, but you seem more trustworthy than other presenters on this topic. Thanks, B1. I think that comes from just authenticity and just being honest about your experiences in your life and how you view and see things. That's what I've learned, anyways. You'll really create deeper connections when you point to the truth. You tell people how things really are. Um, you know, it just works better. It just works so much better when you're vulnerable and you tell people about the experiences that you've had and what you learn from them. Just finished your recommendation of The Power Now, very useful. Yeah, I'm still going through it. I'm having a hard time. I'm listening to the audiobook version. I'm very, ADD and I have a hard time focusing, although it is getting a little bit better lately. So I'll probably go through that book a second time, but it is great. Hypergamy sucks, says Chowdhury. It, it is what it is. You just have to learn what it is and then navigate around it. Um, let's see here. Should try, no. Roland, let's see what you said here. I'm trying to build my knowledge of businesses to help me understand how to have a successful business in the future. Do you have any recommendations for reading? Um, I did a lot of videos on entrepreneurship earlier on in my channel. You can probably go through the video list and then sort by oldest uploads. You get a lot of good tips in there, so probably start there. Would you interview alpha male strategies? I've seen his name recommended before, and I've watched, I think, one or two of his videos. Yeah, I mean, I'd talk to him. I don't really have anything to interview him on. I'd be cautious having him on my channel because he's a character. I wouldn't want to get any strikes against my channel because of the conversations that he has. I think it's only a matter of time if he's not careful to have Aaron Cleary on again. Yeah, I'm sure I can get Aaron on again. He had a good time during that live broadcast, and you know, I know there's a lot of people that got a ton of value out of it. Channel rocks, thanks man. Still wants to go for a cruise in Ironman sports car. If you live in Toronto, follow me on Instagram. I always announce when I go to a Cars and Coffee, and I'm happy to take you for a ride in the car if you show up there. Um, that single mom vid was extremely helpful. I know, actually, it's not just the video, but if you read the comments from other guys, and especially what women say in there, there's lots of use in there, trust me. The comments in my videos, I pull out all kinds of resources. I've got a running notepad that I make notes on ideas in the future and look for patterns and trends. Um, Roth says, any advice on starting a business without any educated background, looking at online services versus in real life? I would go online services and maybe it's some kind of digital products, preferably a subscription type basis business. Um, don't have very many videos on that. If you want more, or if you want to have a chat, probably book like a one-on-one coaching call on clarity because I need to have some idea as far as what you're stuck on. Anne Rousseau says, are you planning on writing a book? Yeah, I covered that, working on it. It'll be out later on this year. It's going to be for guys though, Anne. It's basically conversations that every guy should have had with their father growing up. Some sort of distilled version of that. How about the title, There Are No Unicorns? Well, we already know that. What do you think about the guy who hit people in his van? Well, let's see what the details are, but the pattern there is very similar to what's been happening in Europe. They haven't announced the specific details yet, and my feeling is the media will probably try to remain as politically correct and neutral as possible, but we'll see what happens. Would you ever reconsider the possibility of potentially doing steroids? I've been on and off for 20 years. I look and feel great and am 40. Wake up with a boner every morning. It's amazing. I did a video with Jay Campbell on TRT. You should check that out. It was done in the last 10 days. All the details are in there. Brother, you make it all clear. You got me through a shitstorm. Thanks, Cam. I appreciate that. How can a young guy smarten up and not fall for women irrationally? says Dragon Blade White Ace. You need to be red pill aware. You need to understand female nature. And again, when I say those things, I don't mean it in a disparaging fashion. I mean, become aware, understand who you are, your roles, your masculinity, and leverage it. Brad says, met a woman in Costa Rica, 3 kids, thought very much about bringing her here. You saved me a lot of money, thanks. You're welcome. You're very welcome. I'm glad you woke up. That would have been a bad idea, man. You don't import single mothers from third world countries into a first world country. Never, ever do that. If you're still dating women age 28 and up, how do you nicely get rid of them if you're not interested in a serious relationship for obvious reason? Red pill guy here. Well, first thing I'll say is, and again, I don't mean this in a disparaging fashion, but you would not be asking me that question if you were red pilled. You just do it. You just are. You just be. You just do it. You just let her know, look, I'm not looking for long-term relationship or marriage. I'm on the dating scape right now, so that's who I am. Curtis, hey, what's up, Curtis? Curtis is one of my patrons, by the way. Oh, you didn't get the wording about this. I don't know if you've hit the notification bell, but just check, because it should be notifying you if you are subscribed and hit the notification bell of any live broadcasts. Alex says, high school sucks ass. What was your experience mainly after high school? By any quick advice? Been watching for a while. Can't wish you business. Okay. Stick to business a bit more. Well, people don't watch business videos, Alex, unfortunately. I want to create content that helps men, and I've learned that the stuff that I talk about the last couple of years helps them a hell of a lot more than telling guys how they can hire employees with parties. I've done that, it works, and I'm happy to coach people on that. But at the end of the day, I mean, if you're running a business, you should have disposable income to book a one-on-one coaching call to talk about that sort of stuff, right? For everything else, you can go watch Gary Vee and, rah, 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 and, make Mondays your bitch. Let's see here. Any way I can turn up my volume? Sure, let me see. I don't know if this will pick up more mic. Let me know if that helps. Kelsey says, 38 BLK man, I'm guessing that's black man, married. I just attended a therapy. She motivates me like the red pill. Attended therapy. Just watched Alpha Male speaks of some red pill techniques, trying to save my 16-year-old marriage, 5, 9, and 17, 21 step. Not sure what that means. Why do women want to come in our manosphere space? I don't troll Oprah's book club. They're doing recon, guys. So when you see women watching my videos, like 95% of the audience that watches my videos is guys. The other 5% is women, and probably half of those women are appreciative of the cold hard truths and facts and truth bombs that I drop, and then the other half are just resentful and hateful, and that's when they do like the point and sputter. You're ugly, you're bald, your beard is gross, you probably have a small cock, stuff like that. But you just ignore the haters. I've talked about haters before. They're out there. They're always going to try to complicate your life. Guys, you're going to have to get used to stuff like this. I mean, especially if you're going to do things like be an entrepreneur, create YouTube content publicly. You're going to have haters. People are going to try to interfere and mess up your life all the time. It happens to me regularly. You just have to have thick skin. It's got to be like water off a duck's back, guys. Wow, 225 people on right now. That's a hell of a lot. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with all these questions here. Where am I? Okay. What should a man do when his wife is with a narcissistic sociopath and refuses to OBE held accountable for her acton? I can't help you with that if I don't understand the question. Oh, Billionaire Dude, thanks you for the $10 super chat. I'm 22, started a business app. It's a long shot dream, but to make it big, but at least I'm trying. I'm on Tinder, and what are the chances of me getting laid if I put entrepreneur in my bio? That's a great question, actually. I read a study about a year ago, and I can't remember if it was Bumble or Tinder, but it was one of the swiping apps. And they basically tracked the swiping habits of women based on the job that you presented. So what you did for a living. The number one right swipe job was pilot. Then number 2 was entrepreneur. So you're in good hands if you're an entrepreneur. Now the thing being is you just can't say that you're an entrepreneur and not have a business. Men have the burden of performance when it comes to relationships in the sexual marketplace. So you have to be able to demonstrate that you're competent and that you are running a successful business. Saying that you're an entrepreneur but don't have a business doesn't count. Women will say things like entrepreneur, but they have like a dog walking business where they walk 6 dogs or something like that. That's not really the same thing, but women don't have the burden of performance, men do. So you need to be able to signal and demonstrate that you're actually successful at your endeavors. Um, let's see here. Found your channel, looking forward to learning more. What's up, Brisbane, Australia? Let's see here. 19 years old, best thing to do. Thank you for everything, Richard. Appreciate that, Pele. Thank you. What are your favorite places to hike in Canada? My favorite is probably Algonquin Park. I haven't been there in a couple of years, but I've made it I guess a bit of a tradition going there for an interior camping trip. Canoe deep in the interior, unplugged from electricity. It's just awesome. I think there might be 1 or 2 videos on my channel. There might be one from about a year ago where I recorded one Algonquin trip, just some basic, like really bad vlogging, but it's there anyway. Have I talked to Ronin Man? No, I haven't. I don't know who that is. So Paper Bay says, does anyone feel empty after they've been red pilled? It's a very cold way to dissect life and relationships. I don't think so. My experience going through this journey, which I'm still going through. I am by no means your guru or whatever. I'm just an average guy trying to figure shit out, and I'm sharing my experiences along the way. And I just happen to seem to be doing a pretty good job at it, so I have access to some cool people. But my experience has been as it's created a sense of contentment, happiness, understanding, if you will. By the way, guys, smash the like button, if you will. I only see like 58 thumbs up. Give it a bunch of smashes there. It should help get this out of the notifications to other people so they can see it. Yeah, bars are a pretty bad place to meet women. There we go. We just doubled the likes in one request. Thank you, gentlemen. And the handful of ladies that are on right now. AMS went to Patreon with over 1,000 pledge. Love your work, by the way. Thanks. Deal much in property investment? Yes, I do have passive income coming through, things like that. Rolo on Joe Rogan. I don't think that's going to happen. Hopefully, maybe one day, Joe Rogan might wake up. I mean, he might have to go through a divorce to consider it, but it's been requested, and there's been no response, unfortunately, but we'll see what happens maybe one day. ATP says, do you ever get over an ex? I broke up with my ex almost a year ago, and I still think about her frequently. She was an undercover hoe. Yeah, I think the general rule is if you've been with a woman for about a year and you had an intimate relationship, you were fond of her, you were in love with her, all that sort of stuff, it's going to take you at least another year to get over her. So it's just the thing, that time heals all wounds. I think that red pill awareness speeds things up and makes things a lot better, faster for you. So continue on the journey, watch my videos, watch stuff that's out there from red pill creators, and it'll certainly help you move to it's not a finish line, but it'll help get you closer to where you need to be. I'd like you to do a show with Terrence Pop. I know he's raw, but then I'd have both my digi-senseis in one show. I think the two of you are titans as far as men's gurus are concerned. I like Terrence. I don't watch his stuff that often, but I've seen a few of his videos, and I've seen him comment on 1 or 2 of mine in the past. So we know of each other's work. Let's just put it that way. Maybe we will collaborate in the future. Eddie says, I have 2 boys, and my ex has mentioned she wants them to be male feminists. How do I prevent her from influencing them with that BS? Well, if she's primary caregiver, you're kind of out of luck. But when you have a chance, when you spend time with them, do man shit. Set up a tent, go camping, buy them a BB gun, zero in the scope. Do man stuff so they can at least have exposure to both sides. What up, dog? Says Ray's fan. Rick S., what do you think of the male feminists like Justin Trudeau? Well, you said it right there. There's your answer. Dude is a weak ass man. Um, do you see the feminist agenda getting worse or dying out? I don't see it stopping. You know, the thing with movements is every movement needs to have a finish line. It has to have some sort of like it's achieved its goal and it should be complete. The problem with this feminism thing is it it still doesn't think that it's achieved its goal. It still doesn't think that there's wage equality. So it keeps pushing and pushing and pushing. I don't see it letting up. I mean, you know, the newest thing in the last 6 months has been this Me Too movement. I don't know what is it going to be in 6 to 12 months. Who knows? But you know, the way that it dies out, I think the thing that guys can do to control their own sphere of understanding is understand the sexual marketplace, operate with a red pill lens. If you spot a feminist, do not engage the feminist. You let them deal with their own shit. If they want to, you know, behave with that lens and approach life that way, let them have their fun, you know? Same way as if you want to approach life with a red pill lens, you're able and capable of doing that. Just leave them be. It's as simple as that. Don't reproduce with them, don't marry them. That's it. Leave them be. Curtis, Richard, how come newly red pill guys always want to red pill their blue pill friends? Because we we want our friends to feel what we feel. You know, it's like whenever I have a good experience with something, I drive a car or I do something or I do something in my self-care regime, I'll tell my friends and they'll be like, yeah, you know, I'm not really sure I'm ready for that or I want to try that just yet. But that's fine, you know, they're not ready for it just yet. You have to let them arrive at it, but at least they'll know where to get the information when they're ready for it. So there's nothing wrong with mentioning it, but cramming it down their throat, probably a waste of time. X, I'm very disinterested in everything, no passion, no plans whatsoever. How to stop being so dull? I'm not going to answer that one because if you watch my videos, you wouldn't be asking me that question, man. Dive deep into the channel. Dive deep. Hogan, MGTOW is the best choice ever, as long as you're not completely disengaged from the sexual marketplace. Um, you're right, it's not for blue pills and cups, yeah. Okay. Here's a question from Nick. Do you think Christian religion promotes men to be alphas? Um, I'm not religious. I'm more spiritual, so I can't really comment. I think, I mean, I've seen a lot of blue pill Christian guys, you know, church going blue pill Christian guys that are very plugged in. So, no, I can't agree with that statement. I, I don't think religion has anything to do with it. A few things you would tell you. Yeah, so, okay, so here's a good question. Morgan says, just curious, what are a few things you would tell your younger self or something you wish you knew more about? Okay, if I were to go back to, let's say, 20, I would say work harder, fuck around a lot less, start a business sooner. You know, I worked in the corporate world um, too much and put up with too much crap, too much browbeating. I knew, even as a teenager, that I needed to be an entrepreneur, but take more risks. You know, if you're younger, if you're 20, you've got the luxury of time. If things don't work out, you can always start over again. So you know, if you fall down, you just dust off your shoulders, sort of thing, and you move on. So yeah, that would be my advice to my younger self: is think bigger, take greater risks. Um, Recon, what are your thoughts on smoking marijuana and being successful? Is it possible? Yes, some of the most successful people I know participate in the Mary J. So, I mean, as long as you're not sitting on your couch with Cheeto dust all over your face playing video games for 18 hours straight, you're good. I mean, there's some people that fall into that trap. So, as long as you're still productive or you find a way to be productive, that's fine. Uh, Steven says, have your testosterone level checked? Yes, I did a private video for my Patreons. If you want to access that information, join the community there because there's some stuff that we talk about that is not quite politically correct when it comes to that area. Wrath of, um, let me see here. Thank you. Philippines. Hey, welcome. How you doing? Aaron says, why is it women don't seek as much advice for seeking to be a better version of themselves. Most red pill informative videos discussing how the real world works. I don't know. I'm not a woman, and I don't watch videos that women watch. I mean, what do I know? You know, I turn on YouTube and I could be watching shopping haul videos or makeup tutorials or something like that if I was a chick. There's a guy, what the hell's his name? He's this really blue-pilled dating coach for women. Matthew Hussey, I think it is. Go check out his channel. Matthew Hussey is what it is. That's what women watch. And I'll be honest with you, the information is just, it's, I don't know, whatever. It's just a dude trying to like prey on their insecurities and, sell them these large conferences and things. Anyway, Philip says, red pill me. How do you work out the loneliness, unfulfilled feeling without being with a woman? Philip, you got to get comfortable with being by yourself. Too many guys rely on their identity, being tied into a female, a woman, a wife, a girlfriend, a partner, somebody to bring to Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever it is. Get comfortable with being by yourself, and that's what MGTOWs are very good at. And if you can admire how they do that and apply that to that area of your life, you're going to find that you're going to have a lot more happiness and success. You're not just going to try to fill in the blank because, oh, Christmas is coming and everybody's going to ask you why, Philip doesn't have a girlfriend yet, or when you're going to get married, and we've got 4 grandchildren. When are you going to bring some into the mix, sort of thing? That's not your problem. You should never make a woman the focus of your life. Your mission needs to be the focus of your life. The right woman will come along. Trust me on that. Is it a good idea not to have a girlfriend move in? Is it a good idea not to? I'd rather be together on the weekends. It's never a good idea to live with a girlfriend unless you intend to get married or you're at a stage of your life where you're ready for something like that. I did a video on having a girlfriend moved in. Somebody asked a detailed question, so go look on the channel about it. Trying to think of the title. What the hell was it called? Just search in YouTube, entrepreneurs and cars. Is it a good idea to have a girlfriend move in? I'm sure it'll come up. Love the message on how to deal with haters. Thanks, Alan. Appreciate that. What do I think of Conor McGregor? I don't care about MMA. It's not of interest to me. MGTOW and use of escorts once or twice a month. Yeah, sure. That's what works for you. Aaron, thanks for the super chat. He says, red pill RN here. You're just being truthful. Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate that. What do you think of circumcision? Well, I only know one person that was uncut and then cut himself at 40 because the girl he was dating, this is a funny story, because the girl he was dating, I think she said foreskin was gross or something like that. Anyway, she wouldn't go down on him. So he got circumcised, went through an extreme amount of pain, and she ended up leaving him anyway. So I asked him what the difference was before and after, and he said that he could last longer is basically what the difference was, but he had less sensation. So whatever. I mean, I'm not cut. I was born in the UK. British people at that time weren't getting cut. I think it's dumb. It's not necessary. It's part of your body, so just leave it there. And besides, that's where most of the nerve endings are. So if you want to have great sex, you want to leave, your little boy's foreskin on there. Laxon, you can talk to guys now. You seem so confident. What makes you nervous? Public speaking in front of an audience. If you watch the 21 convention intro, doesn't show that well, but I was nervous. Public speaking in front of, which is weird because I can talk to this camera right now and there's 257 of you guys sitting there watching this. But to me to stand up in front of a room of whatever it was, 90 or 100 people, I was so nervous. It's the most bizarre sensation, but it's something that I want to work on. So I'm going to do the 21 convention this fall. So, I mean, if you follow my channel, just keep an eye out and I'll make the announcement when I'm able to sell the tickets for it. So hopefully I'll see you guys there in Orlando later on this year. How do I get into the dating scene if the work I do is always around men? Well, you shouldn't really be, dipping your pen in the company ink, so to speak. So just go out, public places, do stuff that you like and talk to women that are doing things that you already like. If you like, I don't know, kickboxing, join a kickboxing class. If you like, yoga is probably a good place to go. A friend of mine was telling me that he calls it his honeypot. So, if you're a single guy, go to a yoga class. Apparently, there's lots of very attractive and bendy women there wearing tight clothing. So that might be good. Dating apps, whatever you want. Okay, let's see here. Trying to find questions. There's a lot of comments. Try to leave the comments out so I can get to the questions quicker if you can. How can I tell if I'm being red pill aware or just cynical? Interesting question. What's the difference between red pill awareness and cynical? I don't think you question if you're being cynical if you're red pill aware. So let's put it that way. I don't ever think a thought or make a statement that its origin is from my red pill lens and then think, oh, is that cynical? So if you're thinking you're being cynical, then you're not operating with a red pill lens. That's the way that I would describe it, if that makes sense. White says, I was falsely accused of sexual harassment and choose to resign instead of risking name dragging through the mud. I had a high value job that isn't very marketable. I'm at a loss in starting over. Any advice? Oh, that sucks. Take the lesson from it, man. I would kind of need some more information. I have some questions for you, but yeah, take the lesson from it and see what you can learn. Good for you. Best thing to do in college. College is a waste of time and money, guys. Don't waste your time and money doing that. I did a video very early on about college and university. You can go check it out. Aaron says, why do we have the burden of performance and women expect men to still provide most of the income, but they don't want to do traditional female roles while they still expect men to do and be all? Welcome to the reality of 2018, Aaron. That's just the world that we live in. Get used to it, my man. But if you're chasing excellence and making your dream and your passions your priority, you'll be doing well in life, and you'll be the gatekeeper to relationships and sex if you do that properly. So work on yourself and understand those dynamics is the best advice I can give you there. Yeah, red pill rage mode. Yeah, you'll get through it. Just keep consuming information and becoming self-aware. Sage advice. Thank you. Appreciate it. Interesting comment. He was okay. Well, here we go. You're rich. Lavelle says the Toronto van attack suspect killed those people because he claimed he was forced into celibacy because he couldn't get a girl. Well, we saw that with Nicholas Cruz in Florida. So as the information becomes more evident, I suppose over the next couple of days, maybe we'll talk about that subject on the next Redman group. I'm sure Rollo would have some good thoughts there. What's going on? You need 500 likes to show up on the feeds. Well, we got 282 people on now and 150 likes. So there's a bunch of you guys that need to smash the like button. What's your view on hookers? Well, you're paying for sex. At least they're honest about it. I mean, you could look at it that way, right? Either way, you pay. What do you think of Robert Kiyosaki? I don't really follow him. I think he's a rich dad, poor dad guy, is he? Or is that the other Robert? I don't know. I can't remember. If it's a rich dad, poor dad guy, I think it's a great book. So definitely take a look into that. Here's a question from Boatman. I'm going to go for another 5 more minutes, guys. I'm starting to lose my voice. What's your estimate on how many married men, no divorce, that it takes to end life? Regret being married, have a family. My grandparents definitely. Not really sure I understand that. You don't get on the Joe Rogan podcast by asking to be on it. He already said that. Yes, we're aware of that. Thank you, Valentine. Is it weird to go out alone to meet women? I've never done it. I can't think of a time I've done it. I've chatted up women before out alone, but I was doing things that I was already at, like, I don't know, car show or dealership or something like that, grocery shopping. M. Ibrahim says, hey man, I live in Ottawa. I've been contemplating moving to Toronto for a while now. How are the chances for short-term relationships down there? Downtown Toronto is filled with lots of single women that live that lifestyle. So you'll be spoiled for choice if you live in the downtown Toronto core. What are your thoughts on Tom Likas? He's kind of like the godfather of all this. So yeah, I got a lot of respect for the guy. there's any more questions I could grab before I bounce. Is the pill causing women to breed with betas and therefore lowering their average testosterone of the human race? They don't really know what's lowering the average testosterone of the human race, but what they do know is like 50, 60 years ago, a 40-year-old had the testosterone level of a 25-year-old, basically. So things have changed. It seems to be, I think Jay Campbell mentioned this on the live broadcast I did with him last week, but it seems to be large urban centers, like large cities, and they suggest it's just environmental factors, plastics, estrogen in certain foods and plastics, larger consumption of soy products, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth signals, all sorts of things. They're not exactly sure. They haven't pinned it down yet, but it's certainly a problem. What patterns have you noticed with women branch swinging? That's a great question, Michael. And I'm doing a 45-minute deep dive presentation for Patreons only. So I'm going to pitch my Patreon community one more time before I go. If you want to learn everything about women's mate switching behavior, which is what the study was, it was a multi-page study on female mate switching behavior, also known as monkey branching or branch swinging. I'm going to get into a deep dive as far as why that behavior occurs and what guys should know about it. I can't publish that publicly on YouTube, so I put it behind the Patreon paywall for people that want access to it. It helps support the creation of my free work, and also you get access to the top shelf shit. So if you want access to that, become a Patreon. I'm going to do one more question, and then I am going to bounce. So let's see if we can find a good one here before I go. I got a super chat from Philip. Thank you. I'll answer that. How do we get rid of empty loneliness rut whenever we don't have a woman to date? I'll say it again. Got to get comfortable with yourself. Got to get comfortable with your own company, being by yourself, not having a woman in your life. And it's really as simple as that. For you to truly be an alpha and to be happy and content and successful and to navigate with a red pill lens, you need to be happy and content by yourself. If you're going to rely on the presence of a woman to complete you, as you know, the media has pounded into people with Disney-esque and Hollywood-esque sort of rom-coms and stuff, you're starting off on the wrong foot. Just be content with yourself and your own company. And that might take small strides. It might take, you taking one night off a week just to hang out, with yourself. Maybe you start writing. Maybe you read content that awakens you. Maybe you, I don't know, dive deep into a video game. Whatever it is your thing is, be content with your own company. And if you can do that, you're not going to be worried about, being empty or lonely or something like that. I think Rollo wrote a post. I haven't read it. It's called The Myth of the Lonely Old Man. He's mentioned it a couple times when he's been on. So you might want to check that out. But I think the general notion is all of those questions will be answered there. So I'm going to wrap up this live broadcast. Basically, my intent, if you guys came on late, was just to do some FAQs, welcome the new subscribers to the channel, because I know there's been a whole bunch of you guys that have smashed the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to get new videos. So just to let you know about who I am, I'm Richard Cooper. It's Entrepreneurs in Cars. I want to thank you guys for watching my shit, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to continue to do this for a long time, and if you want access to premium content, go support me on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Entrepreneurs in Cars. See you guys later. Peace. All right. Let's end the broadcast.